Hey guys. So if you watched the last video and you're thinking, okay, I get that I can invest in my well-being across those different areas and well-being is this buzzword, but why is it actually important to do that? Then this video is going to make that clear. So for those of you that read the bio that I did with the last post and know me will know that for many years I had such detriments to my well-being. So my well-being generally consisted of relaxing after going out and drinking for an entire weekend and then spending my days binging on food and Netflix. And I didn't really exercise, I didn't really do anything, and I just worked so hard. So I used to work really hard and play really hard. And if you are anything like me or you haven't anything like me, then you'll know that actually in the long term, it doesn't give us that sense of well-being, and in fact it can erode our well-being over time. And by going on the journey that I have over this last four or so years, as part of the research that I've done, as part of my master's in occupational psychology, and as part of the changes to my lifestyle, my life, I've really been able to hone some ways to identify the things that are important to me in terms of my well-being, and that's what that model is last week, and then invest in them consistently. But why does that matter? So when we invest in our well-being consistently, we get a reserve bank of well-being. So think about it, those 6 different areas that I highlighted last week, if you are actually investing in them consistently each day, each week, then when stuff happens, like you start a new job or something goes wrong with, like a family member, or there's some sort of financial problem or financial crisis, or you have to deliver a massive project at work, or perhaps you get ill, then you have reinforced those 6 areas to such an extent that when those things happen, you have that reserve to pull on. So the way I think about it is it's like making investments in different savings accounts or an investment portfolio. And so as you invest in those different accounts, what you're actually doing is you're setting yourself up for those future events. So when something happens, it doesn't knock you all the way down. You will experience, and absolutely should experience, the feeling of whatever it is that has affected you, but then you can move forward. So resilience is sometimes described as a bounce back, and even by the author whose name eludes me, but I'll put it in the text underneath, the guy that talked about being antifragile, that sense of actually you get stronger when stuff happens. Well, we give ourselves the opportunity to do that when we make those consistent efforts in those different areas, because what that does is it gives us a different baseline. So there's this thing called the hedonic level of happiness. And that's a really fancy way of saying that when stuff happens, we'll return to a certain point after that. So something really good happens, we'll return to a certain point. Something really bad happens, we'll return to a certain point after a certain amount of time. So they say that someone who wins the lottery, yes, they'll go up to a certain point, but they'll really just drop back to where they were. It's hedonic set point. And so when we think about our well-being, really we also can formulate, we can build our own well-being set point. And so when we don't, so where I was before, when I didn't invest anything in my well-being, when stuff happened, when bad stuff happened, when challenging stuff happened, my well-being, it was already low, so it was just going lower. Maybe I could pull it back up a bit, but it was just, for me, really, it was a continuous thing of just going down and down and down. However, now when something happens, and for example, this week has been rather challenging, I've started a new job, I've started my new business. There's been lots and lots of amazing things that have been happening, but they've been very intensive on my reserves of well-being. But because I've been investing consistently across those areas, when things have happened, my set point of my well-being has been able to meet it. That's why I felt the thing, so I talked about in an earlier video, the fact that we need to feel, we need to accept, we need to feel those things fully. But when we've invested in our well-being, we can rely on that to bring us back up to that set point and then move forwards. And that's why it's so important to make those investments. All right, guys, I hope that was useful for you, and I would love to hear your comments. It's just one of my favorite things to hear hear from you. If you have got something out of this video, please do subscribe, and please do share this with someone that you think would get benefit as well. And if you would like to discover more about how to formulate your well-being, then you can check out my growingbeyond.co.uk and look at the packages on there. There's an individual package and a group package, and they will really help you to absolutely nail getting those foundations in your well-being in place and unlock limitless performance. All right, guys, I look forward to seeing you in the next one.